what is the one spy trick you would teach everyone that they can use to improve their life instantly?
The most important spy trick to change everything immediately is something called perception versus perspective. We all look at the world through our own perception. My dad used to tell me, my stepdad used to tell me that perception is reality. And I was arguing this with him when I was 14 years old. But perception is your interpretation of the world around you, but it's unique only to you. There's no advantage in your perception. That's why so many people find themselves arguing all the time, trying to convince other people of their own perception. The way that you win any argument, the way that you get ahead in your career, the way that you outsell or outrace anybody is when you move off of perception and move into perspective. Perspective is the act or the art of observing the world from outside of yourself, whether that's outside of yourself as like an entity just observing in a third from a different point of view, or even more powerful, you sit in the shoes, you sit in the seat of the person opposite you, and you think to yourself, what is their life like? What do they feel right now? Are they comfortable? Are they uncomfortable? Are they afraid? Are they scared? What's the stressor that they woke up to this morning? What's the stressor that they're going to go to sleep with tonight? When you shift places and get out of your own perception and into someone else's perspective, now you're thinking like them, which is giving you an informational advantage. But you know what they're all doing? Everyone else out there is trapped in their own perception.
He's building stuff.
I pray that if there are ever two children who visit my home here, you will give them the courage to say shalom so that they will know they do not have to remain in hiding. Greetings, children.
Were you purring?
Can't talk. Staring.
Abba, I have some questions. Why would God give such a bad day?
We don't always understand why, but we do know we can trust him.
My name is Jesus. I came to teach.
You're a teacher? Could you tell me why God made wasps?
Every animal has a purpose. Wasps can sting, but fig trees need them to grow fruit.
Did she say pie? You gonna eat that? Oh, this tastes like dirt. I don't like pie anymore.
Are you standing on the water?
Not today.
We're back! Naba has said I can't take the boat out.
That's right. Let's go back.
But nothing about just standing in it.
Humans are just amazing at justifying bad behavior.
Traveled 5 hours yesterday. Wasn't feeling it this morning. Got in that cold plunge. Wow. Fired up and ready to go. Great leg work in. Time to go to work.
What you have to understand about women is that they don't want you to want them. If you dote too much on a woman, if you reveal the truth about how much you're in love with her and how much you want her and how much you can't stop thinking about her, if you reveal that to a woman, on the surface, she will respond as if she likes it. And she'll tell you, oh, that's so sweet, and oh, really? You know, she'll go along with it. But deep down, in her unconscious female nature, evolution brain, she has lost respect for you. Because a woman can't make sense of why a man, a big strong man, would be obsessed with a girl, especially a girl like her, because she knows all of her insecurities and flaws and all the things that she lives with herself on a daily basis. You don't. You've projected this fantasy onto this woman because she is physically attractive. You have eroded all of the negatives into the fantasy version of that woman, but she knows the truth. And that is why, if you reveal that you like her, she can't like you. She always has to be in the position of trying to get you. She has to be attracted to you. You have to be just ever so slightly always out of reach. Never, ever let a woman know that you really like her. If you want to know about the code of women, deep analysis, if you want to reboot your masculinity, if you want a community of men supporting you in your journey towards masculine excellence, click the link in my bio. Join my free community, Better Man Academy. Link in bio. Appreciate all the love, appreciate all the support, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!
If any of these family photos, if any of your activities online, if your purchases, if your associations, if your friends are in any way different from what the government or the powers that be of the moment would like them to be, you're no longer able to purchase train tickets. You're no longer able to board an airplane. You may not be able to get a passport. You may not be eligible for a job. You might not be able to work for the government. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms. And those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time, constantly, invisibly, quietly, right now. Our devices are casting all of these records that we do not see being created, that in aggregate seem very innocent. You were at Starbucks at this time. You went to the hospital afterwards. You spent a long time at the hospital. After you left the hospital, you made a phone call. You made a phone call to your mother. You talked to her until the middle of the night. The hospital was an oncology clinic. Even if you can't see the content of these communications, the activity records, what the government calls metadata, which they argue they do not need a warrant to collect.
Magistrate courts quietly act as profit centers. Filing fees, fines, and dismissals feed local budgets, creating a conflict of interest where justice becomes revenue. The state profits when pro-Savis cases against major corporations are unfairly dismissed to uphold the illusion that a citizen can't beat a giant. This system targets the pro-Savis filers, turning due process into debt collection. When courts depend on illusions to operate, neutrality dies, and justice becomes business disguised as law. Officer Pades here with some truth bacon. When justice turns into a cash register, the people lose faith and freedom follows the money. But there's always a lawful way to challenge these setups. The state's agents depend on what you don't know. If you or someone you know is facing the state, drop Officer Pades in the comments, like, share, and subscribe so we can keep exposing the truth and protecting your rights one case at a time.
You don't need that job anymore. $50,000 a month is about to be your new normal. And the reason I know this is because I'm about to teach you something that I wish I knew a long time ago. You know what a trust fund is, right? When you think of a trust fund, you think of someone wealthy that puts all their assets in a trust fund so they can protect them and pass them down to their children. But I bet you didn't know that it's not people who are already wealthy that get a trust fund. People who are broke get a trust fund, and they use it to become wealthy. Now you're wondering, how do they do it? Well, I'm about to tell you, so make sure you save this video. So you open up a trust fund, which anybody can do, and you buy an asset to put in that trust fund. Now, if you're thinking, well, I don't have an asset to put in the trust fund, what people will do is they'll just go and buy a life insurance policy. And life insurance policies are very inexpensive. You can get in $1 million policy for like $100 a month. Then you put the life insurance policy inside of the trust fund. Now the trust fund is worth $1 million if you bought $1 million policy to put in the trust fund. And then you do what the ultra rich do. People like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, they don't just have billions of dollars sitting in a bank account. Their wealth is tied to their stock. So when they need money, they go to a bank and they borrow money and they just use their stock as collateral. And you can do the same thing with your trust fund. Because you have a life insurance policy in your trust fund, you can now borrow against the value of that life insurance policy. Now, obviously, if you borrow the money, you can do whatever you want with it. But the smart people, they take it and they use it to go invest and buy businesses. They'll go out and they'll buy small franchises, or they'll team up with other investors and go out and buy things like apartment buildings. And then when they start collecting the profits from their investments and their businesses, they go back and they pay off the loan that they used to get those businesses in the first place. And once they've paid off their debts, they're still collecting the money from their businesses, so they're financially free. And as long as they continue to save and reinvest that money, they're now financially free and can start creating generational wealth for their family. And this is just one of the many things that people do to create wealth that we just don't know about. And if you're wondering where I learned all of that, it's in the book called Wealth Secrets. If you want to grab it, I have it linked in my bio. And if I were you, I would get it and I would try and learn as much as possible from that book. There's a ton of ways to create wealth with resources that are already available to us. We're never going to create wealth with our 9-to-5 jobs. I'm sorry, we're just not. So go and grab Wealth Secrets, pick the strategy that you feel will work the best for you, and start creating generational wealth for your family. Because generational wealth starts with you.
In every age, humanity invents new ways to see further. The telescope let us glimpse the stars. The microscope revealed the worlds within us. For centuries, thinkers like Leibniz, Shannon, and Turing dreamed of making all knowledge computable. But today, knowledge grows faster than our ability to understand it. Trillions of data points, a universe of information still unconnected. Now, a new instrument emerges, one capable not only of observing the universe, but of understanding it. Genesis mission will transform how science is done in America, uniting our brightest minds, most powerful computers, and vast scientific data into one living system for discovery. Built on artificial intelligence and quantum computing, it will radically redefine the scale, speed, and purpose of scientific progress in America. This is the work that will define our generation's legacy. A new revolution begins, one guided not by competition alone, but by curiosity, imagination, and the belief that discovery is the truest form of progress.